city where the streets were always bustling with activity, lived a man named Dives. Dives was wealthy, unimaginably so. His house, perched on a hill, was like a fortress of luxury. The walls were adorned with tapestries from distant lands, and the floors were made of polished marble that gleamed in the sunlight. He wore the finest robes, the kind that only the richest could afford, and he dined on the best food, eating lavish meals prepared by servants who were always at his beck and call. His life was one of ease, comfort, and opulence. He never went without, and the world seemed to revolve around him. At the entrance to his grand estate, there was a gate, a large iron gate with intricate designs. And just beyond the gate lay a man named Lazarus. Lazarus was poor, destitute, and sick. His clothes were ragged and torn, and his body was covered in sores that oozed and festered. He could barely move, and yet he had no place to go but to sit in the dirt day after day, waiting for a chance at even a small morsel of food, a crumb that might fall from the table of the rich man. The dogs, noticing the sores on his body, would often come and lick them, the only form of comfort Lazarus received. But despite his suffering, he did not complain. Lazarus knew that no one in this world cared for him, and yet he held on to hope that something beyond this life might be different. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and Lazarus continued to sit by the gate. He had nothing left but his faith, and even that was tested. He had heard of a God who cared for the poor, who promised to provide for those in need. But Dives, who lived so close by, never acknowledged him. The rich man had never so much as glanced down at the suffering beggar at his gate. Dives was consumed with his own pleasures, his own world of extravagance. And Lazarus was nothing but a faint shadow on the edge of his vision. Then, one fateful day, both men's lives took an irreversible turn. Lazarus, his body weakened by hunger and illness, finally passed away. No grand procession, no elaborate funeral. He simply slipped away, his body left to the earth as it was. But his soul was carried by angels to a place of peace, a realm called Abraham's bosom, a place of comfort and rest. Here, Lazarus was no longer the poor, sick beggar he had been. He was restored, and he was at peace in the presence of God. Meanwhile, Dives lived on, unaware that his own fate was about to change. Not long after, he fell ill. Perhaps it was his indulgent lifestyle that finally took a toll on his health, or perhaps it was simply his time. Either way, Dives too passed away. His grand mansion, his wealth, and his fame all remained behind as his soul was taken into the realm of the dead, a place of suffering and torment. The rich man found himself in a realm of fire and anguish, far from the peace and comfort he had known in life. It was dark and cold, and he felt the flames licking at his skin. But no matter how much he struggled, the pain never ceased. In his agony, Dives looked up, hoping for some relief. And to his astonishment, he saw far off in the distance a great divide, a chasm. And on the other side, there was Abraham, the great patriarch, sitting in peace with Lazarus at his side. Dives could hardly believe his eyes. It was the beggar. Lazarus, the man who had suffered so much, was now resting in a place of honor, while Dives was in torment. Desperately, Dives called out, "Father Abraham, have mercy on me. Please send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am in agony in this fire." But Abraham's voice came back, calm and sorrowful. "Son, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, while Lazarus received bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in agony." Dives felt a wave of despair wash over him. He begged again, his voice full of desperation. "Then, Father Abraham, I beg you, send Lazarus to my family. I have 5 brothers. Let him warn them so that they don't end up here, in this place of torment." Abraham replied, "They have Moses and the prophets. Let them listen to them." "But Father Abraham," Dives insisted, his voice filled with urgency, "if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent. They'll listen. They'll change." Abraham's answer was firm and final. "If they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, they will not be convinced, even if someone rises from the dead." Dives fell silent, his heart heavy with regret and guilt. He had lived a life of luxury, and now, in this moment of truth, he realized how little it had mattered. His wealth, his status, his indulgence, it was all meaningless in the face of eternity. He had ignored the poor, turned a blind eye to suffering, and now he was paying the price. Lazarus, on the other hand, had endured pain and hardship, but his reward was peace. The chasm that separated them was not just a physical one. It was the result of choices made during their lifetimes. Dives had been given much, but he had wasted his opportunities to do good. Lazarus had little, but his heart had remained faithful, and now he was in the embrace of God. As the rich man's cries faded into the distance, Abraham's voice echoed through the dark silence. "There is no going back," he said. "The choices you make in this life echo through eternity." The story of Dives and Lazarus serves as a powerful reminder that life's true value is not found in wealth or status, but in the way we treat others. The rich man had the world at his feet, but it was Lazarus, the poor and humble beggar, who had the riches of heaven. We are all called to live with compassion, humility, and love, remembering that the way we live today has eternal consequences. The story of Dives and Lazarus is a profound reminder of the importance of how we live our lives, the choices we make, and the way we treat others, especially those in need. Ultimately, the story reminds us that true riches lie not in what we accumulate, but in how we live with love, kindness, and a heart that seeks justice and compassion for all people, regardless of their station in life. Jesus said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. Thank you for watching. God bless you.
Thank you for watching. Kindly like, comment, and subscribe. Click on the notification bell so you can be alerted anytime a new video is uploaded. And please, don't forget, share and be a blessing to someone. God richly bless you. Shalom.